Good morning, it's George Anthony from the Modern Day Prep Global Leaders Institute. This is our last year, and class is ending, the year is ending. The Modern Day Prep Global Institute will stop working at the commencement of this year. So this is our last workshop for the world. So this is our gift to you. So I give you Peacebuilders from the Modern Day Prep Global Leaders Institute. Take it away, guys. It's all yours.
Today we'll be presenting about peace building in our communities. The first part of the presentation will be presented by me. I'm Bella Shi. I am a senior at Modern Day Prep High School. And Lucy, RJ, and Daniela, why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Lucy. I'm a junior at Modern Day Prep.
Hi, I'm Devin. I'm a sophomore at Modern Day Prep.
Hi, I'm RJ. I am also a sophomore at Modern Day Prep.
Hi, I'm Daniela. I'm a junior at Modern Day Prep.
So we're going to start off with an icebreaker for you guys to get to know each other a little bit more. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions and feel free to pause the Zoom at any point to answer the questions in your class. So what is your name and how old are you? Where are you from? Do you have any siblings? What's your favorite movie? Why do you think we ask you these questions? Like, what do you think the bigger picture is? And why is it important to recognize each other in a positive way?
Have you ever wondered why everyone is different and like no one's the same? Well, this is because the way you see the world is unique to yourself. Your worldview is shaped by many things around you, like your religion and what you learn to be right and wrong. Growing up, you'll often take parts of others' worldviews on as your own, especially the people who you spend a lot of time with, like your family and your friends.
So, how is worldview formed? So, worldview is the way that we were raised to see the world and how we personally see it compared to other people. So, no one ever really chooses their worldview. It's just something that comes naturally to us based on our experiences. So, an example is if you were raised to watch Nickelodeon instead of Disney, you might prefer one or the other, depending on how your worldview is formed.
Okay, so we have another icebreaker for you guys. This one's called the stand-up exercise, but because we're on Zoom, we're going to do raise your hand. So raise your hand if you used to live in another state. Raise your hand if you've been in another country or if you traveled before. Raise your hand if you ever made a prank call to somebody. Raise your hand if you enjoy school. And raise your hand if you speak a different language.
Okay, so how are we affected by our worldview? Our worldview has a large effect on everyone around us. Our worldview plays a part in the decisions we make, including the relationships, friendships, and the way we see the world. However, worldview doesn't just affect us. It affects everyone around us. How we act on our worldview can affect people in a positive or negative way. For example, a way of showing our worldview in a negative way is judging someone even though you've never had a conversation with them.
So there can be both good and bad worldviews. Having a positive worldview can be having open mind and being accepting of people and their differences. Positive worldviews can help change the world. And some parts of having a negative worldview can be discriminating against people and having hate in your heart. Negative worldview can hurt yourself and others.
So, how can worldview cause unhappiness? So, while worldview is a beautiful and unique thing to each individual, there's also a way to go about expressing your worldview. So, let's say someone prefers Cheetos and you prefer Doritos. You have to, in a way, express your feelings that's not going to hurt or offend anyone else. And you have to share your worldview in order to help everyone around you and to make sure that everyone is happy and content with themselves.
It is extremely important to expand your worldview. So how can you expand it? You can do it by surrounding yourself with different types of people, watching a new TV show, trying to learn a new language or just learn about a new language, trying to learn some different cultures and customs, and lastly, doing something out of your comfort zone.
So what should you take away from this? So worldview is how we each see the world and how we all individually make up the world. So everyone's worldview is different and beautiful, but sometimes bad people use it to justify their actions. So what I want everyone to take away from this is to express your worldview, but in a positive and safe way, so that no one's feelings gets hurt, and so that we can all continue to have a peaceful planet.
The second half of our presentation is on worldview through communication, specifically KYC, KYE, and CTE. My name is Liam Lugai. I'm a sophomore at Modern Day Prep, and I will pass the microphone over to my partners who I will be presenting with. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Carolyn. I'm a sophomore at Modern Day Prep.
Hi, I'm Becca, and I'm also a sophomore at Modern Day Prep.
Now, KYC, know your colleague, cousin, customer, compadre, whatever. Now you have to be aware of the person you're dealing with, because when you know the person and you know how they'll react, guess what? No surprises. The interactions you have with a person can be mutually beneficial for both of you, and you can gain skills that can help you with later interactions. You have to be positive in situations like this. There are two types of ways you can handle this. You can have reactions or responses. Reactions happen in the heat of the moment. They're very quickly, they're very emotional. Responses are thought out and prepared. KYC examples. I put some examples here from the TV show SpongeBob. Who in here likes SpongeBob? Okay. Squidward knows his customers. He knows how they'll react to him and how they'll order their food and all that. SpongeBob knows that the Krabby Patties make the customers happy, and Mr. Krabs knows that people will pay good money for the food.
KYE, know your environment. What you mean to say is not always what they hear. You might say, I think you can do better, but they might hear, nothing that I will do will ever be better. So you must avoid the negative thinking and the negative talk. One moment you can think and say one thing, and the other person could hear it in such a negative effect. Do you see how quick on a dime someone can hear something and change it? That's why you must avoid barriers to effective communication. There are three types of communication: negotiation, direct communication, mediation. Two or more parties cannot agree, so they come to a mediator to assist the disputants toward a resolution. They come to the mediator because they cannot come to an agreement themselves. And lastly, arbitration. Go before an arbitrator judge as they decide the outcome. Once you and the group of the people come to a solution and found an agreement, then we can all go home happy. There is always a right reason in action.
Control the encounter. When you're in an encounter, you don't only control your words, you also control what you react and how you react with your facial expressions and your body language and just how you stand with yourself as a person. And in our minds, we go to what I call an autopilot, which is where we go to whatever we're most familiar with. So we need to become familiar with prepared responses to what people may say when they're insulting you. You need to have a prepared response instead of a reaction. An example would be that Plankton is trying to get SpongeBob all worked up, but SpongeBob knows that it is wrong and not true, so he has a prepared response to what Plankton will say. Some of the reasons that it is very difficult to be an effective communicator is because we are known as creatures of habit, which means that we just repeat the same things repeatedly over and over and over again. And we do the same words, repeat the same actions, because that's what we have become very comfortable with. But we should force the habit of thinking before we act. or how we need to form responses instead of reactions, and how our reactions can affect others and their reactions. And an example of a bad habit is how Plankton acts repeatedly and how Mr. Krabs is prepared and has a response ready.
I just want to say thank you to the Peace Builders, to the Monday Prep Global Institute Peace Builders. One of the things we teach here in our program is that we don't always have to agree. That's something we understand. We don't always have to agree. What we need to do is just find a way to understand the other person and try to move a conversation or situation to a middle ground, someplace where both people can walk away and they benefit from it. It's not always a win-win or win-lose. I mean, a lot of times when one person wins, one person loses, even the person who wins can actually lose, because what they might lose is somebody's respect, somebody's friendship, or they might think of a way of getting even. So it's always, I think in our class, it's always an idea of how can we move this conversation or this situation or this conflict to a place where we both can benefit. And then we both walk away satisfied and we all benefit from this. So this is just one of the messages we learned from this year and one of the things we care about. So I hope you learned something from this workshop. And if I can ask everybody to go around one thing that they wish for the world, what would you say? If everybody can share with the world one thing that they wish for the world, what would that be? Liam?
I wish for hate and discrimination to stop and for love to spread.
Becca?
I wish for peace among everyone, all nations, religions, races, just peace.
Danielle?
I wish for a more accepting environment where everyone can live in harmony without fear of being discriminated or just having a prejudice against them.
Great. RJ?
I wish for a peaceful environment and for everyone to support everyone, no matter of anything that is special to them.
Carolyn?
I wish for better education for women and children out there in Africa and everywhere else.
Devin? Thank you.
I wish for everyone to be happy because there's no reason to hate anybody. We should be banding together, not coming apart.
Lucy?
I wish for everyone to collectively decide that we're going to keep our world and the environment clean and safe for everyone and all living things.
Bella?
I wish there will be more love in the world. I hope everyone can find people who they love and people who love them.
Great, thank you. All right, so then let's all end on a positive note. And when I say 1, 2, 3, we all say together, may peace prevail on earth. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3.
May peace prevail on earth.
God bless all. Take care.